Good morning, good afternoon or good evening wherever you may be. Today we're going to do a little bit of sewing, and I've been asked if I would show how to do the mattress which I made for the dolls and a matching set of blankets for them. So I shall be doing that today to start us off. If you would like to subscribe to our channel, you would be more than welcome, and if you give us a thumbs up, means that lets me know that you enjoy it. If you do have any requests for things to make, I will try and get them done, so just leave a comment in the comments down below. If you enjoy it, which I hope you do. Okay, so I'm just going to start off and show you the boxes which I've got. So this one is an 18-inch box, and they only just fit into it. Hopefully you can see it. It's got a lid like that. But you can get away with it. It's just because they're just a bit pushed up at that end like that. You can buy these in like in the shops, and they will fit inside. It's just a little bit snug really, but you could do that one and make a mattress to go inside there, and that makes a reasonable box. The other thing you could do is, once you've got your box, if you cut sort of up here and down there, and then you can pull this inner piece off and just do the same and fold that up so it comes to there, and then you'll sort of have the size of a bed, like box type bed type thing there. So that's something else you can use with these boxes if you want to. But as you can see, you can get two dolls sleeping in there reasonably comfortably, so that works quite well. What I did was I went to a shoe shop. I actually went to Clark's, and I asked them if they had any boot boxes, and the lady was really kind and she let me have two big boot boxes. I couldn't manage to carry any more, I could have had more, but as you can see, they've got so much more room in the boot boxes, and obviously those are free. I think I had to pay £5 for the other box, so you've got a lot more room in there. It's a lot more spacious, and you can get two dolls laying in there side by side, so that's quite another good box to buy. Okay, right, so this is the one I'm going to measure up to make the mattress and the bedding for. So this one is, I think I measured it at, it is, whoopsie, it is, because what you want to do is measure to the inside of it, so it is 21.5, okay, and going across it is 12 and a quarter, I would say. Yeah, so 21.5 by 12.25. So I went to the charity shop and I picked up this pillow slip, and it's lovely. I actually got two of them, but you can just go somewhere like Asda's or somewhere, Tesco's, or you know, any of the supermarkets sell packs of pillow slips, and they're not very expensive if you didn't want to buy second hand. I'm trying to buy second hand because we're trying to be more environmentally friendly, and you know, giving you ideas like that. So what I'm going to do is, this pillow slip I need 12.5, so this pillow slip is just going to be a bit too big, because this pillow slip is 20, I would say 24.5, so probably it was 25 if once the stitching was tuck out of it. Alright, so all I'm going to do is come along and cut it at 12.5, which is up here, okay? So then I'll have all that piece left, and then on this side here I'm going to cut it at 21.5, okay? Oh, yeah, 12.25, sorry. I'm going to cut that at 12.25, and I'm going to cut that at 21.5. Then when you think about if it's going to be 12.25, you need to add on an extra 1/4 inch for your seam allowance, okay? So whatever your box is, the inside, measure, put on an extra 1/4 inch for your seam allowance. Okay, right, so thinking about that, we've done that, so, and then we'll get all that cut. So I've cut out my pillow slip to the right size I needed, and then I've took this. Now this was a little sort of quilty blankety type thing which I'd cut up a while ago, and I had this piece of batting left over. You don't have to use this, you could just use an ordinary fleece blanket to line it. You could use a towel, you could use anything you like really. You could buy a cushion and fill it with bits out of a cushion. Whatever you like to do. So this one, as you can see, it's not quite big enough. I need to put a little piece on the end here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and I've made sure that I'm not using my quilter's foot. I've put my wide mouth foot onto it. Okay, so I shall lift this up and take it over. Right, so I've just put this one, and I'm just going to just tiny bit overlap it, just the most tiniest bit. Don't want too much of it going over, but if you try and do it like that, I find that it just pulls away. So I've just overlap it just the most tiniest bit, like just less than 1/4 of an inch, and I'm just going to run it down through. Alright, I've got a nice big stitch on my machine as well. And that will just hold that together. So I've got my batting all sewn together. Now you don't have to use a batting like that, you can go and buy batting, and they do like 100% cotton ones, they do pure wool ones. You can get all sorts. This is just like a nylon-y one, I think. It's like a nylon-y type thing. What you want to do next is get your piece of pillow, okay, and we're going to place the batting on top of the pillow, but we've put the pillow slip inside out. Okay, right, and then I'm just going to lay that on top like that. Right, and then what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go all the way around the outside of this piece of batting, and I'm going to stitch all the way around until I get to here, and I'm going to put a pin in here and a pin in here. Just let's show. Can you see it here? I'll put a pin in here and I'll put a pin in here, and we'll leave that piece open, and then we will go along and do the rest. Okay. The reason I'm putting the stitch onto the actual that's just where the seam is. I don't know if you can see, so I'm just coming in from the seam. The reason I'm putting a stitch on this is so that this doesn't move around too much on the machine. There, and you can do little back stitch if you want to. So I've gone all the way around, and I've left that little opening open, okay, and then what we're going to do is put our hand inside, and we're going to pull everything from the inside out. If you want to, you can cut your corners off, and that'll get you a bit of a neater corner. So I'm just going to, that'll just let your corners lay a little bit straighter on the edges there. Okay. There we go. Alright, so I'll put my hand back in and pull the whole thing out. Blunt pair of scissors here and push that into each of the corners, so you've got a nice corner on each one, and then you've just got this piece of hole here. You've just got this little hole here. So what you can do that now is take your sewing needle. Let's just pretend this pin's a needle. So what you do is you put your pin in that side, your needle in that side, and you go into that side, and then you put your next piece, you line them up straight, and then you put your next piece in so it was just touching where that piece should be, and then you come through like that, and then the next one you go into that side there, and then back into this side here, and then what that will do, you don't go into the outside of the fabric, you just go into the very inside of the fabric, and you run all the way along just like that to the end, and then knot it off. Once you've got your knot knotted off, pull it through the fabric so it comes out, and push it in through here and pull it out, and you will have a nice closed seam which you don't see. But I'm going to show you, because that's the way we usually close it up. But if you are doing something which doesn't need a neat seam, like this mattress, because this will obviously be covered completely, what you can do is just take it to the sewing machine, and with a very small stitch, we'll just turn our stitch length down a bit, Okay, don't want a great big stitch running on that. We'll come on and we'll get that laying nice and straight, and we're going as close to the edge as we possibly can get. So once the needle goes down, hoping you can see that, let's bring the camera over a bit better. So once the needle goes down, it's going to go down, don't lose that bit of thread. So the needle will go down and into that piece of fabric. I could come a little bit closer to the edge. So you have it on the very edge there, okay? And you want it to catch that very edge like that there. And we're going to do a row of stitching going right the way down until it ends here. Remember, you probably won't see the side of this piece of mattress at all, so you can do that if you wanted to. I just thought I'd show you another way of doing where you can do it. What you could do is just go around there and go all the way around the mattress, so you give yourself a line all the way around if you didn't want to hand sew. But I'll show you what this comes out like. Hopefully you can see it okay. So I'm going to just take my time with this. This is obviously going to be a lot quicker than hand sewing it, but you will get to see the stitches. I should have done a back stitch there. I'll go back out and do that in a minute. Right, can you see my seam is just moving a tiny little bit? So I'm just going to pull those two edges together again. To know where the end of your seam is as well, so that you don't still stitch all the way. So I'll just do a back stitch on that. There we go, and a few forward again. There we are, so that should be enough to hold it, okay? Okay. Can you see now? So you've got that there on it. It's not going to be that noticeable, but it is obviously, you've got a stitch there and it is sort of noticeable. But you know, it's up to you. If you want to do the hand stitching, you can sort of do that. Alright, probably I will come back and unpick that and do the hand stitching, but I just wanted to show you that is another way of doing it. You can go all the way around it with the sewing machine and just catch the edge, and then you end up with like a pretty sort of edge to it as well. But because this has got quite a bit of bulk in the side there, I didn't want to put too much on the foot there, so I shall do that, okay? I just wanted to show you how I know that when I'm putting my fabric down, I know that I'm getting a straight edge. So when I go to cut it, what I do is I line up this folded edge, so I always have a folded edge on it, and we know that that folded edge is going to be straight because it's got the fold on it, okay? And push it up as close to the end, but look, make sure that you've got enough to be able to cut it easily. And then I'm going to line that line there up there, so this is now got to be straight, okay? So that's how you get a straight edge. All right, okay, I've managed to cut myself and I've managed to get blood all over the fabric. There's nothing even showing. I don't know where it's come from, the blood, so I managed to get blood on the fabric. So what I've done is I've just cut up this piece of pillow here, a piece of fabric here, and I've cut it so that it's I cut it so you can have two pieces or one piece, it doesn't really matter. And I cut it so that it was 6 inches by 7 inches. So if you were cutting it that way, that would be 14 inches by 6 inches. Just going to fold it in half like so. Going to put a pin in there. I'll wash that fabric and then I'll make it up I'll make it up to match the mattress, but obviously I won't do that for you guys because you probably want to watch me doing it and you don't want to wait for it to be washed and dried and everything. So just going to pin all the way around here, leave that big opening there. I'm going to stitch all the way around the outside of the fabric. Okay, and then I must have I don't know how I did it, but anyway, there was quite a bit of blood. There's nothing showing whether I stabbed myself with a pin or something, I don't know. So I'm going to sew. You don't have to sew across this top bit if you don't want to, but I'm going to sew from here right the way around, and I'll just go right the way around, and I'll come back to here, a little back stitch there and a little back stitch there. So keep it to that 1/4 inch on the side there, back stitch. Now you can sort of see where you want that to be. Once it sort of gets to that underneath part of that foot, that's where you need to turn it, and then you'll find that you're back on that 1/4 inch on the side again. Oh, that's too far, sorry. That was me. I forgot to take my foot off the pedal. Sometimes I do that. Flip it again. Sorry, forgot what I was doing then for a minute. Okay, so that's the pillow, and then you want to just take your scissors and just cut all those corners, okay, so you can get a nice neat corner there. Don't cut onto stitches, okay. I think this is going up on Friday, this one, and then I'm going to put the dress pattern which I've got up on Saturday, I think. So that's what we shall be doing. So if you think there will be another dress coming the next day as well. So obviously I haven't been able to get to the sewing machine, and I'm still really tired from the COVID, so I'm just going to carry on as I'm going. There we go. So I've came out on all of those corners and press those corners out, okay, and then we're going to stuff this with that bit of stuffing. I've got a nice bit of stuffing here. Now you can break this up into small pieces if you want to and stuff that in there like that, or you can just poke it in as you want to. So that's that very last piece of that batting I had. Just move it so you can see. So that's the very last piece of batting, and I'm just literally pulling bits off and poking it in there. So I'll fill that up until I've got all this in there. So it's all stuffed beautifully, and I'm just going to come along where that seam meets across the bottom there. I'm going to put my pins in. Now with this piece here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it on the very edge like we did before, but because it's just a short piece, I'm going to start here and I'm going to go all the way along to the end, okay? So it's going to be a little bit more difficult. What you can do is push that stuffing down out of the way, alright, if you want to. Put it back so you can see better. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to catch just the very, very edge of it, alright? I want to keep that nice and laid flat. If you pull it at this end, it tends to stop it moving around too much. And keep your other hand pulled on that end as well. You should be able to move it down quite easily. Nearly there, okay. Okay, I could put some back stitches in. I'll go back and do some back stitches in a second. So there's the pillow. So this is the piece of the pillow slip which was folded like that at the top, okay, and all I've done is I've taken some starch and I've sprayed the edges, and then I've done my at my 1/2 inch fold, so I folded it in 1/2 inch, and then I folded it again back over another 1/2 inch. So, and I've got that, and then all I'm going to do now is just take the machine, and I'm just going to run a straight stitch, and I'm going to just catch it just there on the very edge. When I got to the corners, I was going to say, when I got to the corners, I did my corner right up to the end like that, and then I folded that piece of the corner down, and then pulled that up and pulled it around. Hopefully you could see that. I folded that piece down in a triangle, and I pulled that around like that, and then I pulled that the whole thing over. I sprayed a bit of extra starch onto it, and I just went on there. I'm just going to run the whole thing around. Now I wouldn't start in the corner if I was you. I would start down here somewhere in the middle of the fabric, because if you start there, you're going to be right on that lump, and it's going to be hard to start, and you want it to be right on the very edge of that fabric there. Okay, and I'm just going to whiz all the way around. So here she is. So she's got her pillow, and she's got her mattress, and she's got her matching sheet. I quite actually like the pillow with the stripes on it. I think I might leave it like that. It's quite cute. I think that looks like quite nice on the bed. I might make another one up, so she's got two. I hope you enjoyed that video. It's really simple. The other thing I found was this lovely fleece blanket here. It's just a small piece of fleece blanket, and all you would need to do if you wanted to use this as a blanket is exactly the same as we've just done with the sheet. You could just place that on her, place it in there. You could cut it straight, and then you could just fold that back twice on that. This end would be fine. You could just fold that back twice all the way around, and measure it obviously so that it would fit into the bed, so it would be to fit her, and just do it like that. So you could just do that just the same way as we've done with the sheet. I hope you enjoy it. Goodbye.